Hey, are you scared? Are you in family court and you're scared? Fight anyway. Does the court system look intimidating and overwhelming to you? Fight anyway. Does the mother have endless pockets? Or is her daddy rich and they're funding a big time aggressive attorney? Fight anyway. I faced all of that without an attorney for off and on for 20 years in my case. And I won more than I lost. There was a period of time where I had an attorney because I was scared to go to trial on a modification case. But I wrote all the paperwork and coached my attorney what to say. So you guys don't have any excuses. I've been through what you've been through and I overcame it. And I've had thousands of guys do the same thing. And you can go on YouTube and type in the hashtag HIGC for how I got custody. That's why I use this hashtag, how I got custody. You can find me anywhere on the internet. There's people when I get my Instagram and TikTok deleted, like, where you been? I didn't know where you were. Dude, I say hashtag Father's Rights, hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. Every single video. You didn't catch that? All you gotta do is type in the hashtag how I got custody. You can find me anytime when I get a new TikTok or a new Instagram or you don't know where I am on the internet. Boom, there it is. Common sense, but my gender doesn't like to use that. You know, I've told people over and over before, I used to walk out to the mailbox and get anxiety because I didn't want to open up the mail and read the mother's next allegation that I'm a monster and I'm crazy because of the PTSD trauma that most people get going to family court. We are falsely accused and they abuse the court system and they use the court system against you. But I went anyway. You know, courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is you go anyway in the face of it. Another analogy I use a lot of times is you're like in an Indiana Jones movie. Harrison Ford, Indiana Jones. Most of those movies are famous because of all the perils that he went through and how crazy it was, you know, running down a tunnel and there's a big boulder coming after him. Well, you're about to go through a tunnel in family court. And the tunnel is dark and it's ugly. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel, a mile down the road, and you see your kids right there at the end of the tunnel. Are you going to go through it or are you going to be a PUSSY? It's scary. There's monsters, there's thugs, there's vipers, there's snakes, there's booby traps. What other choice do you have? You either quit and stand there where it's comfortable and safe, and you avoid your place as the king in your child's life, like Simba in The Lion King, who ran away scared, and then when he grew up he was still scared, and he laid out and Hakuna Matata, no worries, I could just sit here and live luxurious and just enjoy my life while my family suffers and somebody within my family, Scar, his uncle, steals my kingdom. You have a crazy baby mom stealing your rightful place. The queen is taking the place of the king in the family. You guys should walk into court like, how dare you have the audacity to try and take a father out of a kid's life? Instead, you crawl in there. Oh, please, Your Honor, I beg of you. I bow down and worship you. Will you please have mercy upon me and allow me 2 more hours? Instead of 6 hours on the weekend, please give me 8 hours with my children. You say, like, how dare you come and starve the children of a father? But see, none of you talk like that because you're a bunch of pussy-ass bitches. And so's your attorney. And deep down in your conscience, you're like, I should be going for full custody. This woman's crazy. She's an alienator. If I was in charge, there would be safety and peace, and people would get along. If the peaceful person is in charge, then the bully can't do anything about it. But see, a lot of you pussy-ass bitches go in there and say, well, I don't want to get custody because that looks bad and it feels bad. And all the other father's rights groups, leaders who lost in court and got creamed are telling me the winning way to go is to go in there and go for 50-50. And the mother's saying you're a monster and you're a child molester and you're a drug addict and you're not. And you want to work with that person and you tell the court, hey, she's a wonderful, ethical, good mom. She should have 50-50. And she's calling you a monster, and you just said she's credible and wonderful, and you don't have common sense God gave a monkey. And so they believe her because you just gave her credibility instead of attacking her. Well, I don't want to attack her. The court might look bad. Have you ever looked at a court hearing ever in the history of the court system? Have you ever watched a movie with court in it? The Firm, A Few Good Men, JFK, A Time to Kill. You ever watched a movie? The attorneys attack the whole time. You're in the middle of a war. And you're saying, I can't attack the enemy. That's not nice. I'm hoping that they'll just tuck tail and walk away. God, my gender is such the opposite in every other area of life. You won't let somebody break in your house. You won't let somebody steal your car. You won't let somebody kick your dog in the head without retaliating. If you're married and somebody bullies your kid, you will confront the bully or go to the school. But when the mother is the one you're fighting against, you tuck tail and turn big, fat, vaginal, PAB. Why? Because you've been a henpecked little SIMP the whole time and let Jezebel control you. Because you can't grow any balls and be a man. Or you're bribed with sex and you care more about sex than you do your life with your kid. I got guys who are going through and they're not going to court and standing up to the mother because they get sex on the side, and that's more important to them than their life with their kids. Or appeasing the mother so that they can get sex. So don't go to court, don't talk bad about me. I'll let you see the kids, give me some sex. You're a little 304. You don't know what that is? Go type in meaning 304. Are you scared? Go anyway. I was scared. And I got full custody of my daughter 7 months later because I kept going and I kept going and I kept going. This is a war of attrition. The vast majority of wars have been won because one side fought and kept fighting until the other side surrendered. That's how family court works. That's how copping a plea works in the criminal court. 95% of court cases settle out of court by copping a plea or settling. I just talked to a dad. His attorney settled on him having supervised visitation, and he used to have unsupervised overnights. And his attorney said, well, you might go to court and lose, and they'll get awarded attorney fees. So why would you surrender to domination? Why would you surrender to slavery as an option of going to court and trying to fight and risking that you might lose? You got nowhere to go but up. The first time I heard the thing about courage, I saw it when it was an NFL Films highlight thing. They were talking about guys on special teams. You know, special teams is the kickoff or the punting the ball. You know, for those of you who aren't totally familiar with football, you kick the ball in the air, the other team waits to catch it, and they return the ball, and everybody's going full speed. These are guys who are 6'2", 230 pounds, ripped, full of muscle, explosive. They're going full speed, and you might get hit standing there from some guy who's your size or strength or bigger, and get your head knocked off. And what they say is those guys are a little bit on the crazy side, but it's not that they're not scared. They're scared, but they go anyway because it's their job. They have to do it. If your kids were in the house, you escaped the house at a fire, and like, oh my God, one of the kids is in there. You would probably go back in there. And it's not fun. And it's not happy. And you could get burned. But your kid's in there. Again, the Indiana Jones tunnel at the other end of that ugly, scary tunnel is your kid. You go anyway if you're a real man. And here's the thing. There's answers out here. Instead of doing the tiptoe through the tulips, gay rainbow, sweet, gentle, little fruity simp way of getting along with everybody, going along to get along, and following the lead of your attorney, there's actual answers out there. And if you guys weren't so freaking lazy, you could have found me at the beginning of your court case, but you settled for, you talk to your attorney and they said, there's no way you can get 50-50 or custody. You'll get every other weekend. When attorneys told me that, I said, screw you, and hung up the phone. That was the most asinine thing I ever heard. But you, because you're a PAB, you go, oh, okay, whatever you say. It doesn't sound right to me. It doesn't sound fair. Well, that's just the way that it is. I don't take no for an answer. I don't take stupidity for an answer. I don't take cowardice for an answer. I don't take let's be a slave for an answer. I take what's right for an answer, and I fight for what's right. There's been people who found me across the world in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and Europe since I've been on the internet back in 2008 or so. How come you didn't? A lot of you guys are, oh, I wish you were around 3 years ago when I started my divorce. If you got off your ass and weren't a lazy, cowardly bum, you would have looked for answers beyond the stupidity your attorney told you. But you settled for that because you just want somebody else to fight for your kids because your kids aren't that, you don't care that much. But here I am, there's answers. If you want to change your ways and not be a PAB, then let's go to war.